Hare Namaste, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. That's okay. Om Jnana Pramanalasya Pramanalasya Shashvatam Tasmachidurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Bhavisham Sahajanena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudaparamam Shri Guru Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sarvajatam Sakhagara Rathatmikam Tam Sajivam Saraitam Savadutam Harijanasaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakhagara Shri Vishakaritam Scha Hare Krishna Gurva Sindho Dinabando Jagate Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostate Tapta Kanchana Goram Virani Vrindavaneshwari Vishadana Sudeva Devi Pranamami Hare Hare Kancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Vidyanam Bhavaneyo Vaishnaveyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Shri Vasani Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chapter 4, text 22. 245 in the Big Book. I'll read the text and translations. Yadritshyava santushto tandvatito vamatsvaraha samasvara vasidanocha bhavina nivadyate. Translation. He who is satisfied with gain which comes of his own accord, who is freed from dualities, does not envy, who is steady in success and failure, is never entangled or performing actions. Text 23. Translation. The word of command is not attached to the modes of material nature, and is fully situated in transcendental knowledge, merges entirely into transcendence. Text 24. Brahmana Brahmavir Brahmano Brahmanahatam Brahmayavatam Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Translation. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute, and that which is offered is the same spiritual nature. Text 25. Pareyatyam yogina paribhasate Brahmana pareyatyam yagina vopajuvati. Translation. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them. Some of them offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. Text 26. Shotadinyanyane samyam Yabani Shujuvati Sattadin Vishayananya Enriyagni Shujuvati. Some of them sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of the controlled mind, and others sacrifice the objects of the senses, such as sound, in the fire of sacrifice. Text 27. Sarvam Indriyam Karmani Anakarmani Chapare Atma Samyamya Yogano Juvati Jnana Dipite. Translation. Those who are interested in self-realization in terms of mind and self-control offer the functions of all the senses as well as the vital force, breath, as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. Yagyastavo yagya yogo yagyastata pare swadhyaya jnana yagyascha yataya samsita vritaha. Translation. There are others who, enlightened by sacrificing their material possessions in severe austerities, take strict vows and practice the yoga of eightfold mysticism, and others study the Vedas for the advancement of knowledge. Nibbānam tatapare pranāmpana gati rudra pranayama prayayanaha apare niyatahara pranan praneshu dupati. Translation. And there are even others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance, and they practice stopping the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming, and incoming breath.
Normally is self-made. And I think.
Translation. And there are even others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance, and they practice stopping the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming, and incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Some of them, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice. Text 30. Sarvapiti yagyo yagya chapita kalvasaha yagya shishtamrita bujo yanti brahma sanatanam. Translation. All these performers know the meaning of sacrifice, become cleansed of sinful reaction, and, having tasted the nectar of the remnants of such sacrifice, they go to the supreme eternal atmosphere. Text 31. Ayam lokosya yagyasya kudonya kurusattama. Translation. As to the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice, one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next? Text 32. Karmajam veditam sarvam evam yatva vimokshase. Translation. All these different types of sacrifice are appropriate by the Vedas, and all of them are born to different types of work. Knowing them such, you will become liberated. Speaker 1, text 33. Shriyam Pradhamaya Yagyaj Yagya Parantava Sarvam Karma Kirim Bharta Kane Prasampayati. Translation. O chastised within, the sacrifice of knowledge is greater than the sacrifice of material possessions. O son of Buddha, after all, the sacrifice of work culminates in transcendental knowledge. Back to 22. Translation. He who is satisfied with rain, which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, and is steady both in success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. Purport. As Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
A Krishna conscious person does not make much endeavor even to maintain his body. He is satisfied with gains which are obtained of their own accord. He neither begs nor borrows, but he labors honestly as far as is in his own power, and is satisfied with whatever is obtained by his own honest labor. He is therefore independent in his livelihood. He does not allow anyone's service to hamper his own service in Krishna consciousness. However, in the service of the Lord he can participate in any kind of action without being disturbed by the duality of the material world. The duality of the material world is felt in terms of heat and cold, or misery and happiness. The Krishna conscious person is above duality, because he does not hesitate to act in any way for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, he is steady both in success and in failure. These signs are visible in one's fully and transcendental knowledge. Maharaj, you spoke on this verse. He does not allow anyone's service to hamper his own service in Krishna consciousness. However, for the service of the Lord, he can participate in any kind of action without being disturbed by the duality of the material world. We're hearing about the characteristic of a pure devotee, free from his actions of success or failure, good or bad, happiness or distress. He's situated on a transcendental platform. This is something that we should all aspire to reach. It sounds very nice, as Prabhupada puts it. A Krishna conscious person is above duality because he does not hesitate to act in any way for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, he is steady in both success and in failure. These signs are visible in one's fully and transcendental knowledge. One who is not disturbed by this fleeting happiness, this fleeting distress, this revolving door of emotion that is dictated by what the mind deems tolerable or intolerable. One who has set themselves above this. He's steady in intelligence, Krishna says. He's certainly elegant for liberation. This is really big to not be pulled by this duality. Radha he was speaking last night about how there's no situation in this material world that is desirable, even in the mode of goodness. You can understand that it's temporary. It's only a matter of time before that credit runs out. And we visit the lower modes of material nature. These material modes of nature are always fighting over dominance for one another. No one's ever safe, perfectly situated in goodness, because there's a tinge of impurity within that suffering. There's even envy in the mode of goodness. You see this in great philanthropic work that people undertake. What's the verse? Oktaram yadyatabasam sarva lokama eshvaram surinam sarva bhutanam gyatvatam shantamishiti 529. Knowing me is the ultimate purpose of all sacrifice and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pains of material miseries. here is very important, 529. Thinking about it a lot the last few days. And how so many people situated in Lord goodness who are concerning themselves with very nice works that are constructive for the economic development of society. Actions like providing food, belonging, or housing to needy. People who dedicate their life in charity for the satisfaction of others. And they do so under the guise that they're the benefactor and well-wisher of all of the entities. Anytime that we're trying to put ourselves, even if it's subtly, and in a seemingly good way, anytime we're trying to put ourselves in the position of Krishna, we can understand that there's envy present in those actions. This is just one example of how even though goodness is not desirable because it's outside of the constitutional position of serving. So one might say that duality is really just an illusion. It doesn't really exist. It's just the separate energy of the Lord, but everything is spiritual. So a lot of people find comfort in what they think is like a gray area of morale and how to act. You can understand that it's really as simple to say like one's not in Krishna consciousness. They're falling short of the supreme goal of life. We hear that anyone who is not approaching Lord Krishna is considered to be very strong. It's a very strong statement. Let's look at all of our practicing Krishna consciousness and understand that my family is just a bunch of demons. Well, it's kind of a lot to swallow, I guess. But even in the sense that one who's serving themselves or really anyone other than Krishna, who's outside of their constitutional position. In this way, it really is black and white. There's no pleasure here in the material world. Maybe a little, but no more than like a drop in the desert. Opposed to Krishna, who's compared to the ocean of mercy, the ocean of beauty. The ocean is ever expanding. And to be properly situated, to bring others into their situation proper is the meaning that we have here in this world. Try to get back to Him. This is where our energy needs to be focused. This text, 422, that we started with, brings up for me a lot. Envy is a big topic. Envy is the cause of our being situated here. But there's this great verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. Pruso Ram Charitam Shravanayana Badarayana Anarsamsyata Rajan Karma Bandhana Mochite. This is Shukadeva Goswami speaking to King Krishna. And he's saying that anyone by oral reception who absorbs the narration of the pastimes of the Lord, ultimately becomes free from the disease of envy, and thus he finds liberation from the bondage of the fruits of his work. This is an incredible verse to me because it speaks to just the potencies that lie within Krishna and how nothing's off limits for even the most fallen soul upon hearing the narration of his pastimes, can be purified instantly if he allows that purification to take place. So, we're listening to the Bhagavad Gita, which is not the narration of Krishna, but the instructions from Krishna. These are Krishna's words that he's speaking, and there are transcendental potencies invested into these words. And to receive it proper has the same capabilities that come with the Absolute, because his instructions are not different than him. He may as well be here. He is here as we read these books. So on the topic of Krishna and his words that he speaks, there's this great quote in the Nectar of Devotion by Uddhava. He's talking about how the words of Krishna are so attractive that they can immediately pacify his enemy and bring him into peace. They're so attractive that they can immediately solve all the problems of the world. So, when we read these texts, when I read these texts, I try to think about that. I try to get out of my own way of understanding it and really let it sink in. Even if I can't remember verbatim verses that I'm working on or how much I'm trying to understand, I try to absorb what I can and take it with me to the next service. But maybe we can move on to text 23. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. Would someone like to read the purport?
Knowing fully Krishna conscious, one is free from all dualities and thus is free from the contaminations of the material modes. He can become liberated because he knows his constitutional position in relationship with Krishna. And thus his mind cannot be drawn from Krishna consciousness. Consequently, whatever he does for Krishna, who is the primeval Vishnu. Therefore, all his works are technically sacrifices because sacrifice involves satisfying the Supreme Person, Krishna. The resultant reactions to all such work certainly merge into transcendence, and one does not suffer material effects.
To understand our constitutional position means to understand what we're not, which is the sole proprietor of life. There was some philosopher who said every man is the center of his own universe. What this does is it creates a barrier between people, because everyone's sure their little experience is factual. And they're all judging based on what they can see with their empirical senses. And their race, their family, their country, they're all identifying with the body, more or less. And because of these bodily designations, they have envy. They feel the need to compete with others to ensure they have what they need for their survival, their pleasure. They not just fight for it, they expect it. This is ingrained within material nature, is to look out for oneself and push everyone to the curb. And this is not a consciousness is conducive to understanding spiritual knowledge, to advancing, and to frame ourselves from these problems. So, Krishna is the sole proprietor, the creator, of which all emanates from. But due to our envy, due to our desire to really enjoy it, we try our best to take that role for ourselves. But we always fall short because we don't know how to enjoy it. The only way to enjoy is to serve Krishna, serve the devotees. This brings about the bliss that we're actually after, that we look for in drugs and in women and this and that. But, I mean, everyone in the material world is envious to someone else. It's just to what degree are they conscious of that? Do they actually understand that that's the root of all of their suffering? Do they even understand that they're suffering? A lot of people are just so steeped in ignorance that they don't. They actually think that they're having a good time out there. Failing to understand that death is just right there around the corner. It's just right there. Great true Sakana. Mahasa Darihaya Zakram something. Eternal, insurmountable time that imperceptibly overcomes us. So we're within this material sphere that before we even know it, that time will pass. And then at that point, that point, this most frightful situation, in which there's no remedial measures. No person in the material world can help us, not our wife, not our mother, no one. When we are trying to take shelter at that last moment and save ourselves, we won't know how to if we don't put the time in now, while we're still able, while our mental faculties are still in working order. Because even that's not a guarantee. We could lose all capacity to serve Krishna tomorrow. And what's left at that point is what we've done thus far. So we should understand that every day that we're out serving Krishna, it's like we should leave it all on the field, so to speak. Because it will really feel like tomorrow when our death comes. I really have no doubt about that. If I just think about a few years ago, it literally feels like time is just, it doesn't stop. So we need to understand that. Fully situate ourselves in transcendental knowledge. And this will merge us into the last word of transcendence, this personal relationship that we have with Lord Shri Krishna. He's waiting for us to return to Him. And He's self-satisfied, but He wants so badly for us to be satisfied. And He knows that nothing short of His presence will do that. But the opportunity that we have for this aspiring devotee to face this predicament that we're in, all these disgusting feelings, but namely envy at the root of it all. This is much more often than the average materialist do we get the opportunity to face these anarchists. So I want the things within our heart. We should understand that this is our good fortune and it's mercy that's been received. Somehow or other, this is a great mercy to be put in such uncomfortable situations kind of help us face to face this envious nature, which is the cause of our being here. Especially the Brahmacharya, because more or less we're all around the same age, we all have the same goal, which is, we should all have the same goal, which is to go back to Godhead. But any time that you get a group of guys together who are all focused on the same thing, and you get people who are a little bit more advanced, people who are less advanced, everyone's in different walks of their life. Everyone has different natures, different skills that they excel at or that they need to work on. So this pokes at our false ego, all of these aspects of brahmacharya life, of ashrama life, and just constantly where we're seeing our own deficiencies, or we're seeing the deficiencies of others. And it's really easy to get caught in these things. And, there's nothing in the whole universe that should be more alarming to us than making offenses at the feet of a Vaishnava, Aparad, which I think has to be the most dangerous thing in the universe. Because these are the very people who can take us back home, back to Godhead. These are the people who have picked us right up out of Maya when we had absolutely no qualifications, not deserving their association. They gave it to us anyway, despite all of our confusion and arrogance. They were there when literally no one else was, showing us a level of compassion that's inconceivable, and that we hopefully just come to realize more and more as time goes on. The level at which devotees are at, how compassionate they are. So it's very difficult to run from our envy, especially here at RBC with so few people who, more or less, do the same service together every single day. There's lots of room for friction. But I think it's an important question to meditate on how we respond to this friction. And this disgust that comes up within our hearts when we feel this friction. Will we be sharpened by these interactions and rise above them, transcend beyond them, or will we kind of succumb to these lower natures, this lower self that wants to gossip and point fingers? And if we look at it, the nature of envy comes with the people that we hold most dear to us, people that we're closest to, who let us in. Because we see more about who they are, we maybe grow comfortable or callous to that relationship. Maybe we write it off, and we should prioritize it more than anything else. But yeah, we're not so envious of people we don't know. But whether it's devotee who can sing nicely, or play mridanga, or who's good on books, or this or that. It's we should understand that all of these good qualities come from Krishna, who's only manifesting himself through that situation to have those good qualities come about. It's all Krishna. So when we can see that everything is coming from Krishna, then he gets put at the center. Krishna who says, he gives this example of what happens when we throw pebbles to different parts of the water. And pebble will hit the water, it'll ripple out, and this ripple will affect this ripple here. There'll be disturbances that are caused. We can agree on where to put our energy, where to put our resources, where to put our time. We can put Krishna at the center of all these things. And what happens is those ripples, they harmonize. So this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to put aside the desire for our name, our fame, and put all our energy in serving Krishna, doing so with others in a way that it's just good for everyone. So, let's read 24. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Purport. How activities in Krishna consciousness can lead one ultimately to the spiritual goals described here. There are various activities in Krishna consciousness, and all of them will be described in the following verses. But for the present, just the principle of Krishna consciousness is described. A conditioned soul entangled in material contamination is sure to act in the material atmosphere, and yet he has to get out of such an environment. The process by which the conditioned soul can get out of the material atmosphere is Krishna consciousness. For example, the patient who is suffering from a disorder of the bowels due to overindulgence in milk products is cured by another milk product, namely curds. The materially absorbed conditioned soul can be cured by Krishna consciousness, as set forth here in Gita. This process is generally known as yajna, or activities, sacrifices, simply meant for the satisfaction of Vishnu, or Krishna. The more the activities of the material world are performed in Krishna consciousness, or for Vishnu only, the more the atmosphere becomes spiritualized by the absorption. Brahman means spiritual, the Lord is spiritual, and the rays of his transcendental body are called Brahma-jyoti, the spiritual effulgence. Everything that exists is situated in that Brahma-jyoti. The one that jyoti is covered by illusion, maya, or sense gratification, it is called material. This material veil can be removed at once by Krishna consciousness. Thus the offering for the sake of Krishna consciousness, the consuming agent of such an offering or contribution, the process of consumption, the contributor, and the result are all combined together. Brahman, or the Absolute Truth. The Absolute Truth, covered by Maya, is called matter. Matter dovetailed, the cause of the Absolute Truth, regained its spiritual body. Krishna consciousness is the process of converting the illusory consciousness into Brahman, or the Supreme. When the mind is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, it is said to be in samadhi, or trance. Anything done in such transcendental consciousness is called yajna, or sacrifice for the Absolute. In that condition of spiritual consciousness, the contributor, the contribution, the consumption, the performer or leader of the performance, and the result, or ultimate gain, everything becomes one in the Absolute, the Supreme Brahman. That is the method of Krishna consciousness. I was reading about this today about the time. There's no, in an absolute sense, there's no difference between the knower and the known. Whereas in the material world, there is a difference. It's just the relativity that I was speaking about. The person who knows, who is speculating, he is different from that very same topic. Whereas in an absolute sense, there is no difference. The energy is the same as the energetic. This was making the point that qualitatively there is a difference between Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. same time, it should be understood that you can't have the Brahman without the personality of God. It is his effulgence that emanates from him. And it's not different from him, though it's a lower platform of realization. I find that very interesting. Any questions? Bhakti or can we answer you?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we were speaking about like temple life and being brahmacharis, and then we were hearing about putting Krishna at the center, and how you gave the example of putting all the pebbles into one center, so it's just kind of like ripples nicely. And also we were hearing in the next chapter, text 24, about how when we do things in Krishna consciousness, then these things, they kind of like work out, and like they kind of like flow nicely, I don't know what exactly it said, but that was kind of the gist of what it said. So what is some practical ways for us to do this? As maybe you can kind of give some philosophical speculation about a practical means of keeping Krishna in the center amongst our interpersonal relationships.
Simply, I guess they just chant. This is Lord Chaitanya. He's asking us to constantly chant the name of the Lord. I say it's simple, but one actually can't constantly chant the name of the Lord unless they're completely removed from all the total pure. It was made the other day that we can't. Point was made the other day. We can't chant the name of the Lord constantly or chanting our own name. We think that we're owed something, some type of benefit or reward for our actions. So to chant is to build our taste for chanting. To chant as much as we can. Let's say something that I do is I look at shlokas. I don't really have a taste for chanting, but when I'm vibrating, saying words Krishna did 5,000 years ago, it feels pretty nice and it engages my mind. Certain words, activities I could be doing, and to top it all off, it's when you actually understand what it is that you're chanting. That's transcendental knowledge that is able to be realized and directly applied to your life. It's like ammunition in a very tumultuous world when you know ammunition you can get. So, maybe someone else has a better answer, a different answer.
I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
So basically, kind of what I got from that was
Chanting.
yeah, but I mean that's like that's like, but why why chant? What and what I think that we were saying as to why is because so we can be in a nice place before we come into these interactions, and so we're coming from this place of
When we chant, we're associating with Lord Krishna directly. Therefore, there's no other thing to accomplish at that point where we made it. Krishna's right there with us. Just how well can we perceive that? But the more that we chant, the more that we'll want to chant. The only thing that comes from chanting is chanting. And that's why we chant, so we chant more. Because chanting is the only hope that we have in this age of Kali Yuga. And it's the only thing that's going to make the seed of bhakti grow. But there are other things that need to be tended to, like the soil. are the regulative principles, to control our senses, to fill ourselves with philosophy, understanding why we're here, to remember where we came from. That's one that was mentioned to me today. It's a practical thing that we're doing here in Krishna consciousness. We can look exactly like climbing a mountain and turn around and see exactly where we came from. Like, I don't know about any of you guys, but before I got here, there were some serious problems that I was dealing with. I was in a very precarious situation that, even just a little bit further down that path, and I went out of it and come back. That's where things were going. It was going to just becoming hopeless. So these are things that we forget in the light of devotional service, in the light of being here, because we're here with our own problems. We think that things are going to be worse. We're struggling so much. Because you have to wake up and have to chant. This or that. This person's telling me what to do. This person's chastising me. I was thinking about it this morning when I was reading Bhagavatam. I was like, this is my life. I just wake up, I sing, I dance, I read the Taoist philosophy that there is. I don't really know what to complain about anymore. So, but association as well. There's so many things that we are already doing. If we could just hang in there and stick with it, massive results will come before we even know it, before we even realize that they've come, they will come. And it's just up to higher levels of service, more efficient way to serve. So, we can end there, unless maybe Krishna, you have some closing thoughts. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.